Hello everybody, Enigma here, coming at you with another video today. So last week's episode of Enigma stuff was pretty well received. Folks told me they appreciated the little bit of the history lesson that I did, so I thought we would do it again this week for a very important game that came out in 1992. But before we get there, let's go ahead and do a little bit of reconnaissance for the 1980s because we have some context. We need a little bit of context for what I'm going to talk about, okay? So we had four different types of storage for computers and consoles back in the 1980s for the most part, okay? We had hard drives, floppy disks, cassette tapes, and cartridges. Okay, we're all familiar with those to a point. Cassette tapes, you young guys might not know about, but trust me, my first time I ever made a computer program was on a cassette tape that was stored on a cassette tape. Well, in the late 80s and early 90s, we had the invention and the advent of the compact disc. Okay, now this bad boy right here holds a lot more information than a floppy disk or a cartridge could at the time. I know nowadays space is nothing, but for the time they were very big deal because of the space and because of the cost. Much cheaper to press a CD than it was to assemble a cartridge. Okay, so not only could they get more information onto a CD, but it was a lot cheaper to make. Sega was the first company I saw release a CD based console. The Sega CD was add on to the the Sega Genesis, and they had the 32X afterwards. But around the time that CDs were becoming a big deal, there was a company by the name of Digital Pictures. And Digital Pictures, what they would do is they would take a movie or something, a movie script or whatever, and they would try to shoot it to be a game. And it was all full motion video. Usually they would have a B-list actor or an athlete. I know that some of their games are probably very infamous besides what I'm about to talk about today. Sewer Shark, a lot of people remember. There was Slam City with Scottie Pippen. Double Switch was with Corey Haim. That's just how they kind of did their business. The problem, of course, with full motion video games like that is there's not a lot of options. You can't really do a whole lot as the characters because you're not really a character. You're just someone watching and all that. And some of the games are better than others. Corpse Killer's not the worst game on earth. It really isn't, but it's also far worse than you could get from Doom or some of the other shooting games out there. But in 1992, there was this game called Mortal Kombat. We all know about Mortal Kombat, right? Well, this was where kind of the big start of parents getting involved with their kids were playing. Okay, now I know that fast forward in a couple years, and we're going to have like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that. But Mortal Kombat was not really the only game that people were attacking. They were also attacking Night Trap. Okay, so this is Night Trap on the Sega CD. Yes, this is the second pressing of it, as far as I know, and I can tell you why I know it's a second pressing. Because first of all, of this packaging, this is a kind of a wax paper kind of box. The original Night Trap was a red box, I believe, and it didn't have any of this on it. It had someone like on his phone or something like that, and it also has the M for mature rating. Okay, so the ESRB became a big deal because of Mortal Kombat and Night Trap. This was a game that was on the news where they would show footage from this movie that was shot that they were trying to make a game out of. And they made a game out of, and it was and the girl on the front there is the late Dana Plato. Okay, her. She was on Different Strokes back in the 80s. She's no longer with us. She died, I think, at 34 years old, unfortunately. But the game is just basically you have these like vampires or cyber vampires or something, and they're roaming around this house, and you have to trap them as there's a slumber party going on with girls, and the girls are in underwear. So you have all these like cyber vampires running around this house, and girls in their underwear, all this different stuff, and you have to spring traps to catch them and things like that. It's actually not a good game. Okay, let's just be completely honest about this. It is a bad game. I would not suggest anyone play really a lot of the digital picture stuff because a lot of it is really bad because of the fact that they are live action video, right? You can only do so much with live action video because that's all it's shot. If you go back and look at like Dragon's Lair, I know Dragon's Lair is a beloved game, very well animated by the legendary Don Bluth. But if you look at the game, there's not a lot of options. It's you either pick one way or you pick the other way. That's just kind of how it is. And this game is not any different than that. Night Trap is not any different than that. So, like I said, this is the reproduction, and this game had a second pressing because of the controversy. The more you put a spotlight on something, the more people are going to want to see what all the hubbub is about. So when this was on the news, Digital Pictures was like, we got to make more. So they went ahead and they pressed it again. They released it, and that's when I got this. Okay, so then this is a complete version. You can see I have the instruction manual right here, and you can also see I've got the discs, disc 1, disc 2. For the game, but that's not where the fun stuff ends, because here a couple years ago I picked up this. Here we are with a PlayStation 5 reproduction of Night Trap, and it says on the back here, for the first time in 4K. So I'm assuming they went back and they went and cleaned up a lot of the video and made it look a lot better. I don't know, haven't played it yet. I just know about this. I picked this up for the novelty of it. But here's the real interesting thing, okay? So we've already covered the fact that that's M for mature, right? And that's because this game was such a big deal to parents. This one's rated T for teen. And that's because it's not a big deal. It's not. It's not anywhere nearly as graphic as Grand Theft Auto or Mortal Kombat or some of these other games that are out there. Even, old Doom that would come out the year later was more graphic than this puppy was. So very interesting to go back and look at it. I urge anyone that wants to know about the history of the ESRB to go back and look at the Mortal Kombat and Night Trap 1992 stuff, okay? Because this was a big deal. And like I said, parents were starting to notice what their kids were playing, and that was kind of something that hadn't happened before. But once again, when you shine a light on something, you're drawing attention to it. So it became more popular because of it, and that's why it's infamous in a way, and that's why there was a reproduction on the PS5 and such a couple years ago, right? So that's going to do it for today's episode of Enigma Stuff. I want to thank everyone for being here. If you've not done so yet, please do me the favor of hitting that subscribe button. I would really appreciate that, as I am looking to get monetized on YouTube by the end of the year. I would love to have your help and support with that. If you would do me the solid as well as liking and commenting, that would really help get my name out there in the algorithm as well. And I try to interact with everybody who comments and says something. I stream 5 days a week, and you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at Evil Enigma on all those platforms. Follow me on those platforms and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Also have a Fourth Wall store. If you want to support my channel, go out there and check out all the t-shirts and hats and coffee cups and stuff like that with the logos that I've got. I got one in there that I've made myself that I'm really proud of. That I put it on coffee cup, a whiskey glass, and a hat, and I made that myself. So I will see you guys coming up here this next week on the channel as I'm playing Persona 3 Reload, and I'll see you guys then. Okay, so thanks for being here. You guys take care of yourselves. Thank you.